This is a C-5, the largest transport aircraft currently in service in the U.S. military. It is also an important pillar of its air mobility strategy. C-5's excellent range and cargo capacity enable the U.S. military to operate globally, quickly mobilize troops, transport materials, frames C-5. Up to 6 Apache armed gantry cranes can be loaded, 5 M2 infantry fighting vehicles, or 2 M1 main battle tanks. When loading and unloading materials, not only can it open the hatch at the rear of the aircraft, but also lift the upper landing gear. The entire aircraft cargo hold is like a continuous runway. Vehicles can be connected from one end to the other on the road. The efficiency of gold loading has been greatly improved. C-5 has been in service since 1970. It's already over 50 years old. As the backbone of U.S. air transport, C-5 has been undergoing modernization since the beginning of the 21st century and completed the upgrade of all C-5 fleets in April 2018.
Upgraded ses 5e Super Galaxy.
Having better range cargo capacity and economy. And it is expected to emit light and heat for more than 20 years. But the service life of C-5 was not smooth sailing. Experienced 7 security issues and large-scale renovations. In 1975, there were 7 major plane crashes in Vietnam, causing 144 deaths. How did it develop step by step to reach Hainan and become an irreplaceable presence of the United States Air Force? Welcome to Chris Military Base. Let's build the C-5 Milky Way together. Today we're going to talk about C-5 Silver Question. The U.S. military has a large air fleet, responsible for the logistics work of various military bases. The leaders are all McDonnell Douglas C-133 Vortex Award transport planes. Can transport over 50 tons of goods. Although it's already a pretty good plane, but it's still not enough for intercontinental transportation. The U.S. military needs a large aircraft to be able to load a few square meters of all cargo, weapons, and equipment, and put them together. Quickly teleport to anywhere in the world. We need to significantly improve transport. Boeing, McDonnell Douglas, Lockheed Martin. 5 companies, General Dynamics and Mag-On, involved in the bidding process for 7 projects. Puhui Zhe and General Electric launch a 7-engine battle after 7 years of intense competition. In 1965, the Pentagon announced the list of 7 winning bidders. Future heavy transport aircraft will be manufactured by Lockheed. General Electric is responsible for the engine aspect. 2 companies entered the manufacturing work of 7 aircraft. Let's build this together. The largest aircraft ever attacked by the U.S. military. Johnson Yentong is observing. Johnson is current March 1968. It took 2.5 years. C-5 Galaxy officially launched. This is 75 meters long, 20 meters high. Jazan's 68-meter behemoth shocked the world, becoming the 7th largest airplane in the world at that time. C-5 installed 7 extremely advanced flight instruments, autonomous driving and navigation system. There is also one composed of 600 sensors. Internal fault detection system, parallel working hydraulic systems alone. Let everyone fly for 7. General Dynamics unleashes 7 of their signature skills. All kinds of new technologies and materials are piled up. Design 7 revolutionary TF-39. High bypass turbofan engine. Significantly increase the intake volume of 7 engines. Fuel efficiency and thrust. Each unit can provide 20 tons of thrust. During engine testing, use B-52 bombers as 7 flight platforms. Only 2. It can provide the thrust of 8 engines on B-52. 4 units can make C-5 soar in the sky. What about Boeing Company? Although losing the 7 transport plane project, but major airlines, after seeing the emergence of wide-body aircraft like C-5, thinking about developing a wide-body aircraft, incorporated into the domain of Commercial Aircraft Corporation of China COMAC. It will bring a different flying experience to the entire industry. Pan American to Boeing immediately. Ask them if they can combine C-5's fitting experience. Develop a civilian wide-body aircraft. We will know the answers later on. Boeing 747 launched. So in a sense, C-5 and Boeing 747 can also be considered cousins. 3 months after returning to C-5 and delivered to the U.S. Air Force in December 1968, the first C-5. It was immediately deployed into the 7th Vietnam War. Transport a continuous supply of bullets and weapons to the front line. But the performance testing of C-5 is still ongoing. Many aspects of the data are not particularly satisfactory to people, especially the wings section, because the design aims to make the aircraft as light as possible. Various composite materials are put into use. July 1969. When conducting maximum load testing on the wing, the requirement for fracture to be less than 150 at 128 of the ultimate load. And it was found in the state fatigue test that several C-5 aircraft have premature cracks in their engines. This is not good news, because at this point, C-5 has started to equip its troops on a large scale. Even told the U.S. Air Force, these C-5 during flight, it is highly likely that they will fall apart directly. To prevent accidents from happening in 7, they can only limit the load of C-5. US Arm can only hold a maximum of 85 tons of goods 13 C-477. Keep it below 80 of the maximum cargo capacity at all times. This series of actions has caused considerable dissatisfaction in the U.S. Congress. They have started a comprehensive investigation of 7 pairs of C-5. At the same time, Lockheed also incurred huge expenses in the development of C-5. Yen Lin's predicament. Their civilian version C-5L-1011. Also hit by Boeing 747, unable to find the north. Jipping is deserted. I want to modify C-5 to give NASA a space shuttle. NASA, please don't. Turn around and choose the 7 Boeing 7474 that hit the wall. The financial situation of the company is not optimistic. Bankruptcy is possible at any time. Out of helplessness, the U.S. government can only step down to support Lockheed, help them overcome difficulties. At the same time, on the other side of the Earth, C-5 has been deployed on the Battle 5 to appear in 7. C-5 fleet takes off from the east coast of the United States, flying across the Atlantic to Israel. It will be in the Azores Islands of Portugal in the middle. Short-term supply. In the next 32 days, the C-5 transport aircraft flew a total of 145 sorties, transporting 10,800 tons of supplies to Israel. On average, 74 tons of materials are transported per flight. Continuous aid to Israel, the tanks they urgently need, and howitzers. These materials are often just off the plane. It was immediately put into use. With strong support from the United States, Israel gradually gains the upper hand, win the battle. But the issue with the C-5 wing has not been resolved yet. Completely resolved for 7. Lockheed began the 711 program in the late 1970s. Spent 7 years, spending another $715 billion US dollars. Replace all 77 C-5 aircraft with the latest wings. After the renovation is completed, the performance of C-5 has slightly improved compared to before. Time has come to 1981. After Reagan was elected as the President of the United States, he started a series of 7 policies used to revitalize the U.S. military power, leading to C-5's outstanding performance in Israel, and the emergence of the Soviet An-124. Take away the throne of the world's 7 largest airplanes. Congress decides to restore the C-5 production line and order a batch of the latest fully upgraded C-5B. As of 1990, the U.S. Air Force already has 7,126 C-5 aircraft. The global transportation capacity is quite terrifying. The U.S. military proposes 7 real-time global strike systems. The Army needs to deploy a brigade within 96 hours. Within 120 hours, 1 teacher. Within 30 days, 5 divisions of combat troops will be deployed. Deploy to any region worldwide. It's like books giving the Army 7 wings to fly. The most important component of wings is C-5. All of these guys will come in handy soon. Although the Army is in the midst of the Gulf War, it didn't come in handy. But this can be called a muscle-like scheduling ability. Once again, proving the importance of 7 C-5. The largest body of C-5 is no longer circular in cross-section, but it's a pear-shaped shape with a narrow top and wide bottom. The upper cabin can accommodate 75 soldiers. The F section is the loading area. The theme of transport aircraft is always cargo hold. The cargo hold of C-5 is 58 meters wide, 41 meters high, and 37 meters long. The Wright brothers. They can complete their first flight in the cargo hold of C-5. The cargo hold floor has been specially reinforced to support heavy objects. It can also quickly flip to the side with pulleys to facilitate loading and unloading. During the loading process, the main landing gear of the aircraft will descend. The front landing gear will retract backwards. Lower the plane to a kneeling position to get close to the ground. The hydraulic drive device will pull up the machine head. The double doors at the rear will open and release the glass channel. Transform the cargo hold of C-5 into a massive bidirectional loading goods. The maximum cargo capacity of C-5 reaches 7,130 tons. Maximum takeoff weight 418 tons. Loading capacity is unmatched. Most of the weapons and equipment of the U.S. military. It can be easily handled.
Apache, Super Stallion, Marek tank, M2 tank.
Various equipment, such as M109 howitzers. Up to 36 pallets of goods can be loaded. It's twice as much as C-17. For times C-130. Assisting NASA in transportation in 2018. Its famous James Webb Space Telescope. The maximum flight speed is 856 kilometers per hour. Takeoff requires a runway of 1,600 meters. It takes 1,100 meters to land. To ensure the smooth takeoff and landing of this behemoth for 7. The landing gear system is crucial. C-5 is equipped with 7 sturdy and durable landing gear systems. Front landing gear with a single pillar and 4 wheels. Rear landing gear with 6 wheels per set and 4 pillars. Composed of a total of 28 wheels. The 2 sets of landing gear at the rear can rotate. Make the behemoth have a smaller turning radius. All these mechanical structures are fortified into the aircraft. When retrieving, the main landing gear will rotate 90 degrees first. Insert it into the cabin again. Finally, cover the fairing. Close maintenance by ground personnel is required. During maintenance and inspection, each set of landing gear can be raised individually. Replace the tire immediately. Maintain the braking system. We will also test the recovery function of the landing gear separately. These landing gears help C-5 land in Antarctica. Entering the 21st century. Maintain vitality for 7 IC-5.
Glow.
The U.S. Air Force has initiated an upgrade plan for its 7 C-5 fleet. This upgrade can be considered a complete overhaul. Replace C-5 with 7 coating. Install 7 brand new glass cockpits. Navigation equipment and auto drive system. Replace with a universal to the United States. C-17 travels back and forth between Kabul and the transit base. Took 2 weeks to complete. U.S. military withdraws 782,000 troops from Afghanistan. All of this depends on the coordination and cooperation between C-5 and C-17. Served for over 50 years, C-5 remains the U.S. air mobility strategy, an indispensable part, and it is the most important link in intercontinental transportation. Although the project went through many obstacles in the early stages, But after years of practical training, C-5 has been repeated time and time again. Prove 7's own strength. Can build the global rapid deployment capability of the U.S. military. The most important cornerstone is C-5. With the passage of time and the abundance of C-17 equipment, C-5 is gradually bringing it to life. Transfer to C-17 with more versatile attributes, and it will gradually withdraw from the historical stage after 2040. This is the entire story of C-5. If you think it's pretty good, then don't forget the 777. What do you want to see? 3. Tell me in the comments section. See you in the next video.